welcome to the first episode of the, I guess, newer version of Notes with Nadine. I've been so much looking forward to doing these videos for you and answering all of your questions, getting to some of your curiosities, and hopefully making a few little things about voice technique, about opera, about the industry, about kind of the career / personal life aspects of being part of this industry a bit more, maybe clearer, or to give you guys some sort of advice or encouragement should you need or want it. So that was always my goal of doing Notes with Nadine, was to just give that to all of you and to be helpful in some way. So I'm going to get to your guys' questions, and I'm going to try to answer as many as I can for these episodes. But of course, if I don't get to your question, trust me, I have all of the questions flagged in my system, and I will try to get to every single one as best as I can if I don't get it in this video here. So let's start. At MTEvis3, she asks, she says, I absolutely love hearing you sing. Thank you. I have been extremely depressed with getting my vocal career going, and it has been quite difficult. I have a 2-year-old, and I work full-time at a public school with pre-K, which I need to because I won't be able to pay my student loans. I have a lot of friends who have student loans. I understand. That doing so, it is hard to get regular lessons in. I usually do about once a month, and I get about 30 to 40 minutes of practice about 5 times a week. I also have a coach I see ever so often. A lot of times I cannot travel to auditions because I do not have the money, and I have never been able to attend a well-known training program, which I have gotten in a few because of money. You can even hear me sing a little on my Instagram. I need advice on what could help my singing and stage presence, and advice on balance and what helped you to become successful. So, okay, this is what I would say. Let's start with the part about finding balance in things. So I think kind of in life in general, the best way to find balance in getting the things that, let's say, the balance between getting the things you want and doing the things that you must do on a regular basis or on a daily basis, is to create a routine for yourself. A routine that is going to cater to both, right? So cater to getting what you want and catering to the things that you must do in the present moment. How do you do that in this case? So having a 2-year-old, having sort of complications in your life in regards to scheduling, timing, money, funding, this is what I would say. So if you do have those, 1 to 2 lessons a month, I would say the best thing is to record those lessons every time you have the opportunity to have them. Record them. And let's say if you give yourself every single day at least 30 minutes to practice every single day, right? Making that part of your daily routine, try to listen back to that lesson each and every time you practice. So you're going through that one lesson sort of over and over again to the point where you will learn as much as you need to from it. And you will be able to progress. Even if you're listening to something kind of on repeat, the more you practice it and the more you're sort of reminded of what the voice teacher or your voice coach wanted you to learn in that present moment in that lesson, you're going to be able to sort of get those skills through that repetitive practice, if that makes sense. That's what I did. you know. I was very fortunate when I was a kid. I had one lesson every single week, and I practiced every single day for an hour every day, but I always used that one lesson as like my guideline, right? So I would play that lesson on repeat every day for an hour every day and sort of just do the lesson all over again. And it was almost as if I was having a voice lesson every day. And I learned so quickly from that. I also learned exactly what my voice teacher had wanted me to understand during the lesson. I had learned it pretty much by the end of week 1, you know, because I was constantly listening to what that teacher had to say in that moment. So I guess in a way, it doesn't really matter how many lessons you have in a month's time, but it does matter how much you practice in order to obtain those tools that the teacher wants you to learn. Practice is key. Practice will equal progress. I don't think practice can make you perfect. I don't think perfection exists when it comes to a human created art form. I just don't think it exists. But progress for sure. Even if you do have to balance things in your life, like having a child or having a full-time job, yeah, that's what I would say. In regards to student loans, I have friends who have student loans. I understand they also have jobs where they really just have those jobs just to cater to those loans, cater to those debts. And I understand that can be really difficult. But you know what? It's difficult no matter what, you guys. This career is never going to be easy. It's always going to show its complications, and there are always going to be obstacles that one has to face. But I will guarantee you that through those things that you have to like sort of tweak in your life, your everyday life, those struggles will bring kind of the best out of you, and it will also allow you to become stronger. Not just as a person, obviously, but also as an artist and as a singer. It just caters to that artistry, if that makes sense. So don't feel discouraged. I know that sometimes life, when it gets in the way, can really feel like it's overwhelming and taking away from what you want in regards to your singing or in regards to your being able to perform. But if you push through and always try to have a positive mindset, I can guarantee you will find some success. You will reach your goals at least. You know, maybe it will be sort of on the slower end, but eventually you will get there. I always try to think positively in that sense, because, you know, why not? Life is too precious, let's say. So, Laura Urrego 3021, she says, hi, greetings from Colombia. Question: I'm working on coloraturas right now, and I wanted to ask you, how can I practice to gain flexibility when I'm supporting in order to release my coloraturas more freely? Okay, so believe it or not, even though I sing repertoire like Gilda, Lucia, this, you know, all this sort of bel canto music, I always struggled with coloraturas. I always did. I always struggled with having that facility, that ease within the agile part of my singing. So it was the one thing that I had to work on the most, and it's still sort of the thing that I have to practice the most out of anything, right? So what I would do is I will take certain phrases that I find particularly difficult in that regard, from either an aria I'm learning, or from a duet, or from an ensemble, wherever it is within the music that you're trying to solidify within your repertoire, I would take those passages and I would literally make them part of my, as I had said before, daily routine within my practicing. So that by the time, let's say, a month goes by or 2 months go by, right? That passage, that phrase would feel like not nothing, but it wouldn't feel as effortful as it felt before. It would feel more natural, more habitual, more, let's just say, easier. Now, how can you do that with your breath support? Okay, so when I would learn passages like that I felt were sort of hard to put within my voice, I would take those individual notes and I would learn them slowly together, right? So instead of singing, let's say, the passage itself as it's supposed to be sung, you know, or as fast as it's supposed to be sung, I would slow it down, sing one note at a time, and sometimes I would even change the rhythm in order for my brain to sort of connect each note with another. How can I explain this in a better way? So instead of singing something like beat it, let's say da 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 da, just like that, fast like that. No, I would do dee da 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 dee, or be da dee 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 da dee. So kind of changing the rhythm a little bit in order to kind of in the beginning familiarize yourself and your body with the notes that you're having to sing. And if you keep doing that kind of repetitively, and I would say, yeah, every day, as I said, using it in your vocal warm-ups before singing, really singing, you'd be surprised how fast you can actually get that passage to go and how fast you can learn those particular notes in a good sense, in a way that you're not going to create, let's say, bad habits with learning it from the beginning. I hope that makes sense. That's what I do. That's kind of my system with anything, you know? Especially if I find a certain passage in music particularly difficult for myself, I just make it part of my routine and I kind of change it up, you know? I don't allow myself to get stuck, let's say. I hope I answered that. You guys, this is why I wanted to do a Notes with Nadine that was like a little bit longer and a bit more like drawn out, because I do not have the ability or the capability of answering these questions in a short sense. I need the time to be able to really explain myself, because vocal technique in general it's difficult. It's difficult to develop, and it takes quite a bit of time. I know for me, as I told you, that I started taking lessons when I was 6 and I'm almost 31 now, and I still feel like I have so much to learn, you know? It just takes time and practice, a lot of practice, which is cool. It's good. Okay. At Hit Witty, hope that's right. Hi, as a matter of curiosity, are you interested and or can we expect from you someday world creations or contemporary opera? I would love to answer this question. So, I only did one world premiere in my life, which was when I made my debut at San Francisco Opera. And that was in the opera Heart of a Soldier. Did I ever do anything since? No, I never did a world premiere since then. And I never really focused myself in that. Yeah, in regards to contemporary opera. It was just never something that I truly focused on. I really focused on, as I'm sure a lot of you already know, bel canto. I really focused on that and still kind of keep my focus on that, because it's the repertoire that I feel the most not only comfortable in, but it's also the repertoire that I love the most. It just is something that really sparks my interest and sparks my love of music. And I'm not the kind of person who fakes it until they make it, if you understand that. So I would never cast myself off or pass myself off as a Rossini singer and start to sing a bunch of Rossini, because it's not something that I really sat down and really thought through with. And I've had those questions before, and I've had those inquiries before. You know, would I try to do, I don't know, Rosina one day? And my answer was always no, because I never really focused on it. And I also know that there are girls out there are sopranos and also mezzos out there who can do that role far better than I can, because they put in the time and the effort and the research into what makes singing that role as great as it is, if that makes sense. I'm not good at that, you know? I'm really good in the things that I put all of my time and my heart into. I feel like that's more me. That's more the genuine side of myself. And I guess I feel the same way with contemporary opera. It's just not, it's not my niche, you know? Maybe at some point I would, you know, sort of reconsider and go back and try to really study it and make it part of my thing. But at the moment, I don't really have any of that in my schedule. Yeah, but maybe one day. I have said before, maybe some of you guys don't know now, I am just now getting into sort of newer repertoire and French opera, whereas before I really just focused mostly on bel canto, singing, and a lot of Mozart in general. But I never, I'm really slow in that kind of thing. I always try to take as much time as humanly possible so that I can feel not only prepared, but that I can feel like I'm actually going to serve that music well, or as well as it should be served, if that makes sense. I'm crazy like that. So at Chris Boy Photo, hi Nadine, thanks for doing this. Can you explain how you understand your vibrato? What sensation do you get and what metaphor works for you? Thanks, love you. Thank you. So, vibrato. I was the kind of kid that when I was first learning how to sing and learning how to develop a vocal technique, vibrato for me was not something that I had created in a lesson or something I had learned over time, or it was just a natural occurrence. I just had the vibrato that I had, which was super fast and super like fluttery because I was really young. And over time it has changed, especially now that my voice has gotten a bit, not heavier, that would be a lie, fuller, just a little bit fuller, more mature. The vibrato has slowed down a little bit. And I think that's a very natural thing. But yeah, the only way I guess I learned how to control vibrato in a sense, was learning how to straight tone. But learning how to have one in general, that didn't exist for me. It just happened. I hope that makes sense. I'm not an expert in this. So for me, I don't even know if it's possible to create a vibrato. To manufacture one, I don't know. I don't know if that's a possibility. But yeah, it's a funny thing, vibratos, isn't it? I've always used mine in a way, especially dramatically. If I want to color something more dramatically, like a teacher once told me, I have to use my vibrato in that dramatic sense, as if I'm crying, as if I'm sobbing. And sometimes I do that, and it works. It gives that atmospheric change to the music, if that's what you want to portray. But as far as developing one, mine was always just there. If that makes sense. At pvilla101200, do you plan to sing Puccini's Manolesco? Okay, before I answer this question, I love Manolesco and I love Puccini. For those of you who have not seen this, I highly recommend go on YouTube and watch Renata Scotto singing Manolesco. It is the most beautiful / sad thing you'll ever watch. You might cry. I definitely did many times. But Manolesco, my answer in this moment would be no way. Why? Manolesco is super heavy. I would say Puccini in general, Puccini soprano repertoire for me is a bit on the heavy side. So it's hard for me to say yes, because I could never imagine myself singing it now. Perhaps in like a decade from now or more, perhaps then I would consider singing a bit heavier music, but it's really hard for me to say. I'm always so careful about the things that I sing that I never want to approach something too soon. Because I don't really think that it's necessary. For me at least. But man, that would be a dream. It would be a dream to sing roles like that. It really would. But no, at the present moment, no. And as some of you know, those of you who have been following me and you know this about me, I'm a huge fan of Bohème. Bohème by Puccini has always been a big love of mine, and one day I would love to sing Mimi, even if it's totally inappropriate for my voice. Maybe that's the one time I would ever give in, and try to like fake it to make it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm too careful. I'm too cautious. I'm too cautious with roles. Why? I'm cautious because I don't want to hurt my voice. That's why. And also, I said this before, I don't want to come across as being disingenuous. So if I'm singing something that I know is A, not right for me, B, I don't have enough experience, even in life, to sing that particular character for the audience, and C, I don't want to disappoint how the music was created for the audience's ears. I want my voice to cater to a role in a way that's justified, not in a way to kind of stroke my own ego or to do my own thing or to, you know, I just don't think that that's necessary. And that's not me. I really stray away from that mentality. At BKiddo13, what are the exercises you do to help strengthen / improve upon your breath support? I would like to add some new exercises to my warm-ups. Also, how would you explain breath support to a new singer? Okay, this is a very, very good question. So I have answered this before. If you guys go to YouTube and look at some of my old notes with Nadine, there is one about breath support. I will reinstate what I had said in that video in this one. So, two things. When I was a young girl, my voice teacher at the time, for God, I would say 4 years, you guys, would make me lay down on the floor with my back on the floor and sort of a book or something on top of my stomach. And she would have me do all of my warm-ups, let's say 10 to 15 minutes of warm-ups like that. And feeling this sensation, especially in the back, of once you inhale, the body sort of rises a little bit because the back muscles are pushing down on the floor, and kind of keeping that steady, it's not, yeah, I guess a lift. Keeping that steady lift, or at least those muscles supporting the breath that's coming out as you're singing a phrase. And then as that phrase is about to die out, the body goes back into the floor, and all of those muscles that were sort of tense give out, like they relax. And then you do it again and relax again. But she said it was always very important that when I finished a phrase, to relax all of the muscles in my diaphragm before starting anew. That for her was always very important. And it really helped me be able to develop a very strong core within my diaphragm. Like, it was as if she were helping me to develop all of the little muscles, not just the bigger ones, but the little ones that are surrounding that area. So for me, holding long phrases was like, not easy, but it just became more effortless over time from doing that. So that's one. That's just one. And then the other was, I did do something, especially when I was learning how to sing roles in movement. So singing roles and also being able to move really freely on stage, you know, with the staging that directors would give, in order to not be out of breath, to feel like, you know, I needed to breathe in other places just to contain some air. I would practice on, I would kind of do like 15 to 30 minutes of walking on an incline, right? And I would say sort of at a steady pace, not at a slow pace, but at a steady pace where my heart would sort of be not racing, but definitely pumping a bit faster. And I would, you know, be breathing kind of heavier than before. And I would try to do that, 15 to 30 minutes, whilst also singing, being able to still sing. This for me was really helpful. Where can you do this? You can do this even just walking upstairs, like a flight of stairs, going back down, walking back up, going back down, walking back up. You can try it on an elliptical. You can try it outside, you know, even if you're just walking in a park. It doesn't necessarily have to be inclined, but walking in a park sort of at a faster pace, let's say. Something like that. That's what I did. I did that for, I think I did that for like 2 months at some point, because I was given some staging that, you know, for me at that time was a little bit harder than the normal, you know, than the norm. And I didn't want to seem to myself, but also to the audience, like I couldn't get through the aria because I was out of breath. So I developed my breath control a bit further from when I was a little kid by doing that. Oh, also when I was a kid, I swam. I swam a lot. And I didn't swim because I was trying to, you know, create like better breath control for myself. I was just swimming because I loved it, but I didn't really know that at that time my exercise in the pool was also contributing to my ability to like build up my breath support whilst I was singing. But it really came in handy for that, and I'm so happy that I had that as a kid. And I guess I would say now as an adult, try to incorporate some kind of physical exercise into your daily routine. I promise you it will not only, you know, make you healthier, but it will also help you to really develop your overall breath control. You'll see. And also your stamina for singing. It's pretty amazing. So I would say the thing on the floor, you know, breathing, using your back muscles, the back of your diaphragm, let's say, to sort of lift yourself off the floor, put yourself back down, sort of using your warm-ups with that. And then the other thing, oh wait, my boyfriend and his mom are home. I hope they're not too loud. But anyway, yeah, so doing that and then also exercising. That's what I would say. Some kind of daily form of exercising. Could even just be walking for like 30 minutes a day. But you'll start to see changes. Okay, wait, there's one more. Oh, at Camacho Gab, I hope that's right. Nadine, thank you. My question is, when did your voice begin to develop and respond to what you wanted? I'm asking because I'm 22 and I study lyrical singing. I've been studying lyrical singing since I was, oops. Sorry, my phone was just telling me it's gonna die. But yeah, I am asking because I am 22 and I study lyrical singing since I was 16, and I don't have total control of what my voice is doing, and it is still light without volume, she says. What would you recommend to me? Thank you so much. What I would say is this. So when I was 22, my voice was quite light as well. My voice wasn't this big booming thing, and it still isn't. You know, I'm 30 now, I'll be 31. And my voice is still developing and still trying to get to where I want it to go. It's not there yet, you know? That takes so much time. It takes so much time and so much maturity. Honestly, it's all about patience and also being kind to yourself, you know? Understanding that you're only human and you know, your development can only go as quickly as it can. I'd also like to stress something about having a big voice, right? As opposed to being able to project your voice. Those are two very different things, in my opinion. So, I don't have a big voice. I don't have a big voice. But over the years, I've been able to figure out how to project my voice, how to project it well in bigger opera houses, like the Met, like San Francisco Opera, these kinds of things. The only way to do that is having good breath support and developing your overall vocal technique over time. I don't like it when people say your voice isn't big enough to sing whatever. I don't like that. Because then I know that it makes singers have this tendency to push so that their voices sound bigger. And that's so wrong. That's wrong. A singer should never have to push in order to be heard. Never. The breath support, sort of by itself, should be able to project your voice through an opera house, or at least, over the orchestra, even if your voice is on the lighter end of the spectrum. You're 22 years old, right? So when I was 22, my voice was definitely lighter than it is now. Lighter, finer, and I hadn't even started really singing proper, complete opera roles until I was, let's say the next year, 23. So when I did Gilda for the first time, that was when I was 23 years old, and Gilda for me was heavy. It was at the heaviest thing that I had ever sung up until that time. So that kind of thing, it's gonna take you a while. Like you said, you're 22. I would say you're going to feel more secure vocally in that sense probably by the time you're 30. If you keep practicing, if you keep trying to progress and seeing a teacher and, really actively working toward that, 30. Things change when you're 30. I've noticed that since being 30, but it takes a while. I don't even know when I'm really going to vocally reach exactly where I want to go. Maybe even in my 40s. But that's cool. That's the adventure that lies ahead, for so many of us. It's what keeps us going in a way. Do you know? It keeps us, I guess, interested in what we're doing. At least it's not boring, That growth is never boring. But yeah, practice patience, man. Practice patience. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with thyself. Because, those vocal cords are they're small little beasts, and they need time to grow. And this needs time to grow too, and this too. So take your time. Take your time. I hope that this video was helpful. I know that there are many more questions that you guys have, and I do want to answer them, but I also want to make sure that within these videos I can answer each question kind of as thoroughly as I can, but also so that I can articulate my answers relatively well. So I am going to end it here, but this is only the first episode. I'm definitely going to have more episodes, and I am going to try to sort of give out an episode every single week. So please keep your questions coming. I do have the other questions from when I had inquired about your questions the first time. I have them flagged within my little system, so I do have them, and I will answer them in episode 2, which I hope to put up, let's see, today's Saturday. Yeah, I'm gonna try to put them up, sometime next week. So look toward that. And anyways, I'll make an announcement when I do, and you'll see it on my IGTV channel. Yay! It was so nice to do this. I'm so happy that I can do Notes with Nadine again, and I hope that you enjoy this sort of format now, maybe even better than before. I think it's better because then I have the freedom to ramble on, because as you guys know, that's what I do. But anyways, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I look forward to the next one. Bye.